Hello again, I'm Doug Smith. This is the 23 May 2014 edition of Portsmouth This Week, the voice of Portsmouth Town Hall. Our special guest today on the show is Joanne Moyer, the Town Clerk of Portsmouth. Welcome, Joanne. It's
Thank you so much.
Great to have you on the program. We're going to talk a little bit about the Town Clerk's office and stuff. I have to tell you that I went online on the town website and looked up some of your duties. And I think it's quite impressive. We'll have to get into this because I'm not sure everybody knows all the things you guys do down there. But before we get into that, I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, background, etc.
All righty. I've been the town clerk since last July when the previous town clerk retired. Before that, I was the deputy town clerk since December of 2003. I've also been the deputy town clerk of Middletown for about 5.5 years. I am a certified municipal clerk. While in Middletown, at the town hall in Middletown, I was lucky enough to be able to go to the New England Institute of Town Clerks and at Salve Regina and earn my certified municipal clerk designation.
Okay, great.
Also a graduate of UMass Amherst.
Are you from Rhode Island originally, or? Originally
from Massachusetts.
Okay.
And found my way here following my husband in his Navy career.
Oh yeah, the Navy sort of weaves a thread throughout Portsmouth.
It's very, very nice, the Navy. They always seem to have you near water.
Yeah, that's one of the good. That's why I didn't join the Air Force, actually.
Didn't want to be in the air all the time.
That's
huh?
right. That's right.
Okay.
So you grew up in Massachusetts, came here with your husband. Did you come to Portsmouth initially, or were you elsewhere in the island?
He was stationed in Newport. We were in Newport then, and stayed here from 1980 off and on back till 94.
Okay.
He retired. We moved to Maine. And as soon as my granddaughter decided to get married and have a baby, we came back.
Okay, great. So how many grandchildren do you have?
I have 3 grandchildren.
Okay.
A 17-year-old, a 16-year-old, and an 11-month-old.
11-month-old. Well, good luck on the older ones. They become adults way too quick these days, I think.
Yes, my grandson graduates in just 2 weeks. Very pleased at Portsmouth High.
Well, that's great. So you got quite a good experience as far as being a town clerk goes, and let's get into the job itself, because as I say, when I looked at it, there was an awful lot of stuff that you folks do, and I wonder if you can just kind of describe what you guys do and how the office is organized and things like that.
Absolutely. Most of our functions are by state law. The town clerk's office does vital records, which is birth certificates, marriage certificates, death certificates. We also issue marriage licenses. We do land evidence, which is for a lot of people very, very the most important thing we do. That's the recording and of deeds and mortgages, anything to do with the land. It's called land evidence because it really has to do with the land in town. So anyone who needs to know or get a copy of their deed or a mortgage, or more importantly, a release of their mortgage because they've paid it off, we will always have a copy of that in our records.
Okay.
And we can always issue copies.
And these are physically in your office area?
Yes. All of our land evidence is in book form, and everything from the 1960s forward is actually on computer, that they can come into our office to print it, or we have a website that is run by another company that provides that information also online. So 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, a person could go online, look up the information by their name, and print it for a fee, or just reference it if they just need to reference it.
Now, how far back do our land evidence records go? Because we're pretty old, as you know, 375 years.
We actually have the King's Grant map showing the families who were granted properties in Portsmouth It's not the original.
Okay.
Don't, no.
Yeah, we went through that with the Portsmouth Compact, I think. Yeah.
And the library. The library also has a copy of the King's Grant map. But our deeds start back from the beginning. And some of them are hard to read, Old English.
Sure.
S's or F's and things like that. But we do have all of the documents, hopefully 99% of the documents someone would be looking for.
Yeah, that's great, because I've been in there, and as you say, there's just stacks and stacks of these books. And I can see that it would eventually become a storage issue for a place as old as us. I'm sure you could use extra space yourself. That's probably one of your challenges. We'll get to that.
Well, after the Great Flood...
Yeah, when was that?
Prior to me, I believe it wasn't really a great flood. It was we had a problem with water in the finance office, and it came down, and the town hall had to sort of be renovated because of it. So all of our documents, the oldest documents, went to the state archives for preservation. They have a hermetically set room with temperature controls and barometric controls and things like that. And they stayed there in their repository until last year, when the legislature decided they needed to store their documents there. And we were asked if we could kindly move the 5 vans worth of documents and books back to our office.
Really?
So we had quite the summer last summer between bringing them back, between finding spaces for them, re-indexing our offices, and finding space. And at the same time, it was good, because we also got to get rid of a lot of things that we didn't need. We have to actually request permission to destroy documents from the state archives. And so old dog license applications.
Yeah.
You know, things that really don't need to be kept past a certain amount of time. There's a retention list that the state law also has. But we have to ask their permission, send them a paper, they have to authorize it, and then we're allowed to destroy those documents.
Okay, so a lot of your operation is basically controlled by state law.
Absolutely.
What you can and can't do. I just wonder, do you have like old town, it wouldn't have been a council then back, it was a town meeting kind of records?
We have books all the way back, knock wood, that show the town meeting proceedings. And if you take the book and you flip it around and turn it around, it'll have the probate records on the other side of the book. So one book held both. A long time ago, probate was actually handled by the town council or the town group.
What exactly is probate? What does that mean exactly, or more or less?
Probate is most importantly is wills.
Okay.
People think, oh, my mother wrote a will, she made me the executor. Well, she might have made you the executor, but until it's probated in probate court, you aren't officially the executor. The judge is the one who names you the executor and authorizes you to act in that position and to be able to handle the estate. It's probate of will, it's guardianships, it's name changes.
Okay, so it's basically legally binding documents then.
They just like land evidence, they're with us forever.
Wow. I can imagine that would fill up a little bit of space. I guess has there ever been a period where we've actually lost important documents because of whether, back in the day, in the 1700s and things, there had to be periods, and the houses back there were basically wood. And you can see that during a hurricane or a winter storm or something, you could very easily sustain damage. Are there any periods that we're shy?
We do have a few books missing. From what I understand, it was when we had to move our documents, the books. We not only had the part where some of the books went to the state, but we also moved, the town clerk's office had to move to the school during a renovation, and then from the school back to the town hall.
Okay, so in the process of...
And then to a store up on East Main Road,
Yeah.
where everything went into a great big trailer. Time's up. And went into a great big trailer for storage, and they spent the winter there. At one time, I believe they actually put everything they could into a dump truck in order to haul it to
might have
the
gone
new
flying
location.
off the top or something, right?
So
Yeah.
we're fortunate we have as much as we do.
And the thing is, how would you even know? Do you have an inventory of this stuff, or is there some kind of list?
With the move back last year, we had a wonderful temp come in and prepare and inventory things and index them, and coordinate and sort.
Okay,
and
so you sort of do have a good sense of...
We do. Some of the papers that came back from the state archives were loose. There's one that's called the Portsmouth Scrapbook. There's one that was just a box of loose papers. And watching what's happened on TV and in the news about documents, old documents being missing or lost or taken, we've started scanning them, making a photocopy and scanning them once, and then having the scan in digital form, and making an index so that those papers don't have to actually come out and be handled and worry about them.
Yeah.
The more times you copy something, the more it deteriorates with the flash or whatever.
I have to say, though, I was quite amazed at the condition of the Portsmouth Compact. This is an actual document that was 375 years old, and you could still read it. I mean, it was kind of tiny, and it was hard to read. But it's too bad something like that we couldn't have more access to. Maybe we can in the future. I don't know. That's something that, because that was a great opportunity during last March.
To have that.
A year ago, March, to come down and see that. It was just really super. How many people work in your office? I know it's not just you.
I work with the deputy, Patty Cofield. She started last August, so she's presumably young for the office. She worked with the school department for 13 years, so she has a lot of experience with town functions and people and how to operate meetings and things like that, which was a boom for me to find someone that could actually come in and know about meetings and the functions of the town. My next employee is a full-time clerk, Amanda Lawson. Amanda has been working with us just 6 months. And I have a part-time clerk, Marissa White, who's been working with us for 4 months.
Okay, so a total of 4 in your office?
3.5.
3.5, right.
Yes.
3 full, one part-time.
One part-time.
Are members of the town clerk's office, are they unionized? Are they part of a union, or are they part of some other?
The office clerks are in the union. The deputy and the town clerk are not union.
Okay, and the union they'd be in would be the
PMEA, Portsmouth and
Municipal
Employees Association. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I was just trying to figure it out myself.
Anagrams.
Yeah, I can see where you basically control documents here, and the one thing that's always amazed me is that how well you all do the town council minutes, because I sit there through the, I don't know how you capture, I know it's recorded, I guess, but that's got to be tough to do. I mean, and get it accurate, you know.
The most important thing with minutes is the motions. That's by law. What we, I say that a lot, don't I? What we have to do in minutes is make sure we have the motions and that they're accurate and what the vote was. Other things, people talking, this and that, unless it's a public hearing, we don't actually have to write down who says what. If it's a public hearing, like the one we're going to have for the budget, or if it's a change in an ordinance or something like that, then we have to have the person's name and their address and what they said.
Okay, these are for public comments and things like that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's a lot of information flowing around down there. I have to tell you, though, that I think the new format on the website, where you can actually go to it and look down through the things, and the documents the read ahead or whatever they call them documents, the backup, is right with them is a great
Isn't that
tool.
fantastic?
It's fantastic. It really is. It makes it a lot easier for people like us that want to go to one specific thing and take a look.
Instead of having to come in and go through and make copies, you have it right at home, right at your computer, to be able to see, and to see whether you want to come to the meeting, if you have an opinion that you want to share.
Absolutely. And I think that's the trend. I think the trend is you can get it digitized, you can put it up there, and people can access it anywhere from a smartphone even, if you want to. When people come into the office, is there any way they can be better prepared? Like I would imagine, because I've done it myself, I walk in there and say, I'd like to do this. And they say, well, you need to bring this, or you should have done that. What can people do to be better prepared when they come in to make it quicker when they go in to see you folks?
If you know exactly what you're looking for, if it's a copy of a deed or your birth certificate, something like that, you can either, you certainly should be able to come in. If there's a question, you can look at the town's website. We go by vital records, your marriages, your births and things, your instructions on how to do something, what you need if you're coming in to get married, you want a marriage license. But you can always call us. That's very, very important, to call the office if you have a question. Sometimes you come into our office, but you need a building permit, so we're going to send you up to the building inspector's office.
Right.
Or you're looking for a transfer station sticker or a copy of your taxes. That's at the tax collector's office. But if you call us, we can certainly transfer you to that office, or we can ask you questions just enough to make sure we know what you're looking for and give you the instructions on if you do need to bring something.
One of the issues that in all towns now, but certainly in Rhode Island, is our challenges in terms of funding, people, et cetera. What are your biggest challenges in your office?
Funding, of course. Every office wishes that they could have newer and better things. I try to make the challenge everyone that works in my office to try and have people leave happy and to have gotten the information, or at least a start as to what they need. I mean, the public is what we're there for. Whether it's someone who wants a beach sticker, whether it's someone who wants a dog license, whether it's someone who wants to have a party at Glen Park. That's all things that we do. Yeah.
Well, I've always found every time I walked in there's somebody that asks me, can I help you? And they take care of me somehow, with no preparation. So, I mean, that's the fallback. But your number is 683-2101.
Yes.
And that'll be a good suggestion to call first. If they have questions, go to the website, look and see what's required, et cetera. Also, I should say that Patty Cofield was a great help when she was in the school committee, because she did a lot of stuff. This was during the 375th year, and we got a lot of stuff done through her. So she's a good asset, I think.
Absolutely. She was an excellent choice to be my deputy.
Yeah. One of the weird things, I guess, to me, is that in Portsmouth, the town clerk is an elected position. It's not, it almost is like you don't have a boss. Is that a good thing?
Oh, I have over 1,700 boss, 17,000
well,
bosses.
No, I understand, but I mean, it's just difficult to see how you fit into the hierarchy here or don't. And why are we like this? Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, the charter says that it's an elected position, the town charter.
Okay.
And it's something that the people have decided that that's what they want. They want it to be an elected position.
So they want an independent town clerk, I guess, right?
I believe that the town clerk's office has to be independent in a way. They can't bow to any specific political party or group or person.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Because we have to follow, the state law. There are things that we have to do. We have to be very cautious. Sometimes it might sound like I'm mean, or Come
on, you're never mean. What are you talking about?
But I have to make sure that we're following the law.
Yeah.
And that we are looking into it and making sure that whatever we're doing right.
How do other towns that don't have this do this? In other words, I assume that in other towns the town clerk is appointed?
All but 9 towns or municipalities in Rhode Island have appointed town clerks.
Okay.
There's only 9 of us that are going to be elected.
Okay, well then how do you relate to the other department heads and the town administrator, for example, and the president of the town council? How do you kind of relate to those guys?
I express as much respect as I would to any person. Everyone has an opinion, everyone should cooperate and be as friendly and cooperative as possible.
Yeah, I guess what I'm just thinking of, the town administrator has a staff meeting with all his department heads. Do you go to those? I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, I would hope so, because you want to make sure everybody's on the same page, more or less.
Absolutely. It's a staff meeting is more to find out what the other departments are doing. It's important for us to know, not only just to send, somebody's looking for something, they need to know who to talk to. Whether it's Gary Crosby about the wind turbine generators, whether it's a building inspector or a zoning board of review question, they would go to George Medeiros. It's very important to know what's coming up and what's going. I think going to the town clerk's meetings, and the reason Patty and I both go to the town clerk's meetings is otherwise you're not going to know what's going on in town. You have to be on top of it to know who to see, who to refer people to. And
what the issues are that might be popping up as well. Yeah. Like, for example, the water board. You guys, I know they're a separate agency.
Yes, they're a quasi-governmental agency.
But do you have some kind of connection with them too, or at least
actually, not my office.
You know to have somebody call them on a water issue, I guess.
Yes, well, we have to. They look it up in the phone book and they can't find the Portsmouth Water Department, and I have to tell them it's the water department. I say, well, it's the Portsmouth Water and Fire District. You have to look.
That's right.
As far as elections, their elections are actually aided by the canvassing board across the hall, voter registration.
Right.
In some towns, actually, voter registration is handled by the town clerk's office also. In Middletown, that's the case. But in Portsmouth, it's a separate department.
Okay, and that canvassing agent or office is an appointed position, I take it, right?
Yes, it is.
Not elected.
Yes.
Yeah. So essentially, you're elected when you'll be in the elections this fall, and I guess when we go through the regular municipal elections.
Yes.
What kind of person do you think it takes to be a good town clerk? You're a good town clerk.
Thank you.
So what kind of attributes do you think somebody would need who wanted to become a town clerk? Besides paying attention to detail, which lets me out right away.
You have to be a people person. You have to want to help people. You want to be with people. My background, not that it matters, was sociology and psychology, because I've always wanted to help people, and everything I've done has sort of been in that sort of a customer service field. A town clerk has to be able to multitask. Their brain has to be going in 5 directions at once, and their hands at least in 3. Everyone in our office has a main function, but they also have all the other functions that they have to pay attention to. So your phone call could be a probate question. You could have someone at the counter about land evidence. You could have someone else at the counter about a dog license or a fishing license. You have to be on top.
And they're all different categories, so.
All different categories, all different rules, all different requirements. So it's like you just can't be in one mode and think you're going to spend all day in one mode.
Yeah. So you can't sit over there and think great thoughts. You have to get down into the weeds with all this.
Yes, and all of us are there. It's not a job where I'm sitting in my back office reading my emails and doing a budget. I'm out in front. Yeah. And if anybody is on vacation or out sick or after the part-time girl goes home at 1 o'clock, we're all out working the counter and answering the phones.
Yeah. One of the things we mentioned a few minutes ago was the new technologies and things. And one of the things that's I've always wondered about is, it would seem to me it would be logical to put all the forms that people have to fill out online, and then allow them to submit them somehow online. They may have to come in to sign something, for final approval. But are we trending towards that in the town clerk's office? One example that stuck out at me was the Glen Park, trying to get the use of Glen Park. First we went down, I said, can I get the form? Well, you can look at it, but you have to fill it out here. I said, what? So it's not online, it's not available. Why is that? Why can't it be done, at least accessed online? Stuff like that.
Okay. Well,
I don't mean to put you on the spot,
no,
but that
not
was
a
just
problem.
one.
You could fill the form out, but the site and the date is not reserved until it is in our office.
Okay,
because
no, I
of
understand that,
scheduling.
yeah,
Only one
yeah.
person can use it at a time.
Okay.
And we're sort of doing it because we're there 9 to 4, whereas the committee is only in once a month.
Once a month, sure.
So we're trying to make sure that when someone comes in, we not only have to make sure that they have the application filled out right, and Grace does want 3 phone call numbers.
Yeah, we know.
But that we also make a copy for Public Works, because they need to know. We make a copy for the Finance Office because they need to know to make sure that insurance has been provided. We have to make copies in the original to the Glen Park Working Committee so that when they have their meeting, they're ready to review the questionnaire, make sure the person asks the right questions to the person. Plus, we keep a copy for our records.
Yeah, I guess I just see paperwork as being, if it's on paper, it should be online, and that's kind of my view. Let me. We're running out of time almost already. See, I told you, time flies. Yes. You know, I know part of what you guys do down there is in the fun category. Like, I would assume that riding in the parade in my wife's car.
Thank you very much.
No, believe me, she loves that, the idea that her little yellow Volkswagen was in the parade. I'm assuming that was fun because you look like you were enjoying yourself during that.
It was a wonderful time.
It was a great time. But besides that, I know the next thing you got coming up is the Boston Post cane. Could you talk about that and what it is and how we find somebody in the next minute?
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Yes, the Boston Post cane was from the Boston Post, a newspaper. Back in 1909, they sent out a cane to all of the different towns to honor the oldest citizen in the town. We are now in search of the oldest citizen. Whether you are the oldest citizen, not you, but
thank you for that.
Or you have a friend or a family member who lives in Portsmouth and is old. We'd love for you to nominate that person, and hopefully within the next couple of months we'll find the oldest resident of Portsmouth and be able to present them with the cane.
Okay, and they get to keep the cane for the year, for
as long as
term. Wow. Okay. Well, listen, we're out of time already, Joanne. But I'd like to thank you for coming in, and I hope you'll agree to come back some other time in the future with any issues you might have.
And certainly for the other half of the interview.
Yes, I know. I told you we ran out of time.
Thank you.
That's all for now. Doug Smith signing off. We'll see you next time on Portsmouth This Week.